What's going on, everybody? So I'm back in the video. Hope everyone's having a great day. In today's video, I'm going to be showing you guys the best iPhone camera settings for 2023. So some of these settings I will be showing you are preference, my personal preference. So if you have any sort of suggestions or tips, leave them down below in the comment section and I'll be sure to check them out and maybe make an updated video in a couple months. So the first thing we're going to be heading into is the settings application, scrolling all the way down until we see the camera app right here. So there it is. And the first section we're going to be heading into is the formats tab. So once we're in this section right here, there's going to be two options for the camera capture: high efficiency and most compatible. So for this, I highly recommend using the most compatible, because if you're going to be using high efficiency, for example, if you're using a Windows computer which doesn't support these HEIF/HEVC formats, it will obviously not work. And with most compatible, it's always going to be using either JPEG or .h.264. So I highly recommend using the most compatible. So next we have the photo capture and we have the Apple ProRAW. So I highly recommend toggling that on. So this allows you to shoot raw images on your standard lens, and it won't apply to your wide lens or your telephoto lens, but from here, once you do toggles on, you will be able to change your ProRAW resolution from 12 megapixels to 48 megapixel. And you will have to note that if you are going to be shooting in RAW, the file size is going to be significantly a lot higher. So it does say right here, 25 megabytes at 12 megapixel. And if you shoot at 48 megapixel, it's going to be approximately 75 megabytes. So you may have to decide when you want to turn on this feature, depending on how much storage you have on your device. So for me, I have 128 gigabyte of storage. So sometimes I like to turn off the settings. So next, for the video capture, we have the Apple ProRes. Same thing. It allows us to shoot raw and basically get more information once we are doing the post process. So I have that toggle on. But for this, like I mentioned earlier, it will take up a ton more space on your device. So make sure to know how much space you have before using in these settings. But this is for the best video and picture quality possible. So next we have the record video, slow-mo, and cinematics. So for this video, I'm going to be more focusing on the video. So from here, we have 720p, 1080p, and 4K. So for the frames, I will get that into a second here. But for the video, this will kind of be on your preference, just because on how you're going to be viewing your video. So for example, if you're only going to be viewing your video just from your iPhone, you might just want to record at either 1080p at 60 fps or 30 fps, because you can't view 4K video on your iPhone. But if you have an external monitor which has a 4K display, then you might want to shoot at 4K. So for someone like me, I'm a content creator. I do upload some of my videos that I do record from my iPhone onto YouTube, which some people will view my videos in 4K. I want to be able to get the highest quality possible, so I will shoot at either 4K 24 fps or 30 fps. So that will all kind of depend on how you're going to be viewing your content. So for the frames, if you want a more natural look, I usually shoot between 30 and 24 fps. But for someone who does a little bit more B-roll, you may want to shoot at like 60 fps. But for those that will be shooting at 4K at 60 fps, you will need high efficiency to be toggled on. So just note that if you want to be using that option right there. So next, I want to talk about whichever one you select. You can see how much space it will take up on your device. So for example, for me, I usually do shoot at 24 or 4K at 24 fps. Most of my file size will be at 200 megabyte a second for a minute video. So like I said, depending on how much you store, how much storage you do have on your device, you may want to lower it down to 1080p at 30 fps. So just kind of go through that list and see how much video you are going to be shooting on your device. And some of these things right here, I think by default HDR video is turned on, so make sure to turn that off, because in post process it is very annoying to use because it doesn't support much of these video editing softwares. So make sure that is turned off. So next we have the composition. So if you are into photography, you know that composition is very important. So right here we have toggled on the grid. So this basically gives us a 3x3 grid. So very useful. So for example, if we're doing like an overhead shot or just like focusing on a certain product, we can basically center in the middle if we want to focus this lens cap right here. So I always have that toggled on every single time. And right here we now have the view outside the frame, so I have that toggled on as well. And for these settings, you guys can kind of just read the description, basically self-explanatory right there. And then for the photo capture, we have this new option in iOS 16, which is the photographic style. So if you aren't shooting in RAW, you can set it to certain types of styles. So if you want a more vibrant style, warm style, you guys can select one of these. But if, like I said, if you're more into photography and you're shooting all your video in RAW, where you want to do all the editing and the post process yourself, then obviously it won't apply to the raw photos that you have taken. So now I want to show you guys some cool little tricks in the camera settings. So if you want to shoot burst photos, all you have to do is basically tap and hold the camera and then swipe to the left. So I was recording there, so let's try that again. So we'll swipe to the left and you'll see we are taking a bunch of burst photos, where we can now view it right here. We took approximately 27 burst photos. And then if we actually swipe to the right, it's going to automatically record the video just like that. We can let go and it's going to continue to record. Another cool little trick is if you actually swipe up right here, we have a lot more options. So if you actually swipe to the right here and select the photographic, so you can see from here we're going to be able to change our photographic, like from vivid, warm. And if we actually want to shoot this in our video, because for the photographic style is only for photos, we can actually use that little trick I showed you guys to record video. So we'll swipe to the right, and now we have that vivid cool as our kind of photographic style while recording a video. So there you guys have it. Hope you guys did enjoy this video. If you did, drop a like on the video, hit that subscribe button and that post notification bell so you guys never miss a video. Like I mentioned at the beginning of the video, if you have any different settings or tips or tricks, let me know down below in the comment section. I'm sure it'll help me as well as a ton of other people watching this video as well. And that is basically it, and I'll see you guys in the next one.